Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Wake and Take. It's your boy, Jason, and boy, do we have some football to talk about today. Week 4 happened yesterday. Well, Sunday, week 4. We still got 2 more games tonight, but it's time to give our reactions, our fantasy football takeaways from the game. So go ahead and buckle up, take out your coffee, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. And welcome into the chat, everyone here so far. Trip, Darnold, Dakota, Shaka Zulu, and everyone here listening on the podcast. Again, everyone, you can find the Wake and Take podcast via the link in the description to soothe your listening ears if you can't catch it with your eyes live every morning, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern. Guys, we had some great football this weekend. It really was. We had some good football games, lots of fun stories to talk about. And I've kind of got to apologize. I was putting together today's show sheet, and I was like, you know what? I don't know why I haven't done this more often. So far through this season, I've kind of just been going game by game, talking about the things that have happened, instead of giving, takes and reactions like this show's supposed to be. So we're going to do that. We're going to actually talk about the things that I want to talk about today, and we're hopefully going to fire you up, Trip. We really are. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the vibes this morning. But before we get into the vibes, we've got to talk about the bad vibes, right? We got to talk about some of the injuries that happened over the weekend to keep your eye on this week. First off, and we'll definitely talk some more about this, but Rashi Rice, he tore his ACL, at least expectedly. I'm sure we'll have a full report on that, but he had a knee injury, went out. All the reports so far are suggesting that they believe it is a torn ACL. Tyler Bidet, which I learned his name is pronounced Bidet in yesterday's broadcast. He has a back injury. It was really scary, actually. If you were watching Red Zone like I was yesterday, he had a little catch thing, kind of got tackled. It seemed fine, was able to go to the sideline under his own power. Didn't seem literally just seemed like a normal football play. But then a few minutes later, you get all the reports that he just kind of fell over on the sideline on his back, and they had to stretch him out. Supposedly, all the reports out there right now is that he's okay at the hospital. Really not sure what that means. We don't know what the injury is. We're hearing back, neck. I don't really know. Either way, very scary, but good to hear that he is okay in the hospital, and hopefully he can get back out there soon or get an injury settlement and retire. I don't really know what the situation here is, but so far so good for him, at least, not super severe. Christian Watson, it came out this morning that he has a high ankle sprain. Some reports are suggesting he might land on IR as well. So that's something. Keep your eye on that. Jonathan Taylor, same thing, high ankle sprain. Definitely not good, as Anthony Richardson also picked up an injury in this game. Now, it looks like Anthony Richardson won't miss time, but we got more to talk about with that one as well. But Jonathan Taylor, high ankle sprain, definitely a bit more serious. Look to see what is going on with that in terms of missed time. I'm sure he'll miss at least a couple weeks, but hopefully he can avoid IR. Taysom Hill re-aggravated his rib injury or chest injury that had kind of been sidelining him for the past couple weeks. Re-aggravated that. Luckily for Taysom Hill managers, he scored 2 touchdowns like the beast he is before picking up this injury. So at least you got some points out of him before going down, but definitely something to monitor, as he's probably not going to be out there for another week or 2. Malik Neighbors picked up a concussion on Thursday Night Football. We know with stars, it doesn't really mean anything, especially since he has the long week. So probably nothing to be concerned about. Cordero Patterson picked up an ankle injury. Jacob Cowing picked up a shoulder injury. And Trey Palmer also picked up a concussion. Those 3, they're kind of smaller, less important fantasy players. Hopefully they're okay. We'll kind of just monitor that as time goes on, but not many takeaways in that regard. But Christian Watson, high ankle sprain, we'll talk about in a bit as well, has some good takeaways. We'll talk about the Anthony Richardson injury a bit more in today's show. And we'll, of course, talk about the Rashi Rice injury as well in today's show. The other stuff, probably sitting down. Now, Trip has a little bit of an update. Says that Tyler Bidet did fly home from the flight or on a commercial flight accompanied by members of the Broncos medical staff, according to some random person on the internet, it seems like. But he was able to get home from some Denver reporter. Seems cool. That seems good. So, yeah, let's go ahead and hop right into it, guys. But before we get into the reactions and takeaways from this week's action, why don't we go ahead and hear just a little bit about our player rankings?
Hey, this will just take a second. I want to talk about our player rankings, the weekly rankings, the weekly projections. Billy, Theo, and our analytics geniuses getting your start sit decisions dialed in that flex tab. And then you get the season rankings. Want to make add drop decisions? The season rankings are updated every week all year. And you have the best dynasty rankings ever as part of the player rankings package. And don't forget the offensive line rankings. Dan Fornick, one of the best in the business. New running back starting this week. Hey, is that offensive line top 10? Yeah, okay, start him. And we rank the cornerbacks out to like CB 100 with the corresponding receiver they're going to be matched up with most this coming week. The player rankings are the thing you need during the season on PlayerProfiler.com. Check it out.
All right. Check out those player rankings. They are awesome. We love the player rankings here at Player Profiler. Guys, this is my first takeaway. This is my first reaction. This is perhaps one of the most unfortunate things I've ever watched on my TV screen. Check it out.
Him get this as Mahomes accidentally hits his teammate, and that right is watch him get this as Mahomes accidentally hits his teammate, and that right is watch him get this as Mahomes.
Yeah, that is Patrick Mahomes tearing Rashi Rice's ACL. I saw this, and I'm just mouth agape. I can't believe this happened. I actually cannot believe this happened. I'm just honestly aghast to use that word, right? Like, I don't understand what Patrick Mahomes was thinking, first off, but also just how unfortunate this is. Like, what are the odds that you tear your own player's ACL? So unfortunate. And that's my reaction, Slayer Stacker. Why was he even trying to make this tackle? It's week 4. It's week 4. And Rashi Rice was there. And you're a $500 million quarterback. I don't know why he's even trying to make this tackle. It's so unfortunate and it's stupid. And to make it worse, to make this whole thing worse, Patrick Mahomes came out after the game and isn't even sorry about it. Patrick Mahomes is just it's just a football play. It just happens. I play sports. I still play soccer. I've played sports my entire life. I've run into my teammates before, I guess. Younger, when I was younger, or maybe in a soccer defense situation, right, where you're just kind of all crammed in the box. But in this situation, it's totally avoidable. You've thrown the interception. You have your offensive line. Then you have Rashi Rice both chasing him down. And even then, if you go back and watch this, he's literally missing the Chargers player in this tackle. Patrick Mahomes lays his head down, turns his head away, and just kind of falls into the guy. It's just it's not even a tackle attempt. It's just I'm going to put my body out there and hope I hit him attempt. It isn't even a tackle attempt. And because he isn't paying attention, because his head is turned, because he's just falling into someone, he tears his teammate's goddamn ACL. What are you thinking? I have no idea what he's thinking. I feel bad for Rashi Rice. That sucks. He was off to a great season, and now he's facing an imminent suspension. I will say this. This is probably the time to buy Rashi Rice. There's also some selling opportunities. It's a little bit of both, kind of mixed bag when it comes to Rashi Rice's dynasty value. I am looking into what could happen with his suspension a little bit. It seems a little unclear. About if you can serve your suspension while injured. There have been cases of that, but in both those cases, they were free agents or they just weren't put on IR. I do believe you have to be medically cleared for it to be considered serving your suspension. So if I'm Rashi Rice, I think I am immediately, after I find out this torn ACL news, if I'm done for the season, I'm working on my legal shit immediately. So there is some silver lining there. It's possible he'll be able to work all this out now, right? Take the suspension, take the plea deal. I don't know. I have no clue. I'm not a lawyer, but it is kind of some silver lining I'm starting to see is, he was going to be distracted all year now from football. He was supposed to have some court date in October. It was probably going to end up being pushed back. Now it probably doesn't have to. Like now he could probably just go to that court date, get everything settled, and he's not even going to be able to do any harm. He can't drive right now with a torn ACL, so he can't be a repeat offender. So hopefully that's the silver lining. We'll kind of find out, I guess. Like we'll find out as time ticks on. But that's kind of what I'm assuming is that Rashi Rice will do a little bit of just go ahead and lean into the legal issues and get those things sorted since he won't be on the football field. But we'll see, right? I mean, we'll see. But that's kind of my assumption, which I do believe would be a silver lining. And I see Tripp saying Davante Adams to Kansas City, and I feel like that's got to be the case. I know a lot of people would say, oh, why would the Raiders trade within division? I think that is reasonable when you're talking about a young star player. But in this case, it's really only going to be a one-year rental for the Chiefs anyway. And it's not like the Raiders are trying to make a Super Bowl run this year. Like, I see this a lot. I see Ryan saying it here in the chat. There's zero chance. I don't think zero chance is it can work both ways. Like if the Chiefs give enough, the Raiders would be happy to trade Davante Adams. It's an asset that's lost to them anyway. I don't think that trading within division matters as much for a veteran one-year rental wide receiver like a Davante Adams, especially when one team still has their Super Bowl window and one team has Gardner Minshew as their quarterback, right? It's not, it's not, it's just not what I would expect in terms of just it not having any chance of happening. Like when I saw the Rashi Rice injury, I mean, my immediate thought was Davante Adams is a Kansas City Chief. It fits perfectly. Very, very similar type of receiver and fits the Chiefs offense, would help them tremendously. So I would definitely put it at a non-zero chance. I think it's very likely, to be honest. I don't know who else they would be after if they are to be in this wide receiver market. T. Higgins, maybe. T. Higgins is maybe a reasonable one if you don't believe they would trade within division. But I don't think, I think if you were to say, the Raiders wouldn't trade Brock Bowers to the Chiefs, maybe not even like a Jacoby Myers, but I think a Davante Adams is the exact type of asset. One, the Raiders think that he's a locker room issue, so they kind of get rid of that and send him to a division rival. But also, again, they're not really worried about a Super Bowl this year in Las Vegas, right? The Chiefs are. It would just be a one-year rental. That is a good question. What is the Chiefs salary cap situation like? Looks like they only have about $5 million in space, but I'm sure they could figure out something. I don't really know. I don't know. But yeah, I would just say that it's a non-zero chance that Davante Adams lands in Kansas City, and I do think it makes a lot of sense. And I do just want to say also, while we're on this game, the Carson Steele experiment was fun. I hope you guys did heed my advice and move on from him. Try to swap him for any backup running back, really. Kareem Hunt, 14 carries, 69 yards. Carson Steele, 2 carries, a fumble. Never saw the game again. That's now back-to-back games with a fumble. Clyde Edwards-Helaire began practicing as well. Carson Steele, dunzo. Hate to say it. Very fun story. Dunzo. Don't worry about Carson Steele anymore. Probably not droppable, but probably will be droppable within the next couple weeks. But right now it's looking like the Kareem Hunt show, the Samaje Perine show, and maybe the Clyde Edwards-Helaire show as well when he comes back, as he returned to practice last week as well. So that's kind of the Kansas City stuff. I don't know what the hell Patrick Mahomes was thinking, but he made a huge mistake. Not apologizing for it, not taking any accountability, which I find horrendous. And it's unfortunate. It is very, very unfortunate for Rashi Rice, for sure. Now, moving on to another person that I just want to kind of dog on for a second. It's Shane Steichen. Again, why was there so much idiocy yesterday? How are you as a head coach, a person whose main job is to keep the team together and worry about your personnel? How in the world do you think it's a bright idea to take your quarterback who missed all of last year due to multiple injuries he picked up while running the ball, who just came off the field because he hurt his hip, to then put him back out there to run the ball again? What are you thinking, Shane? Seriously, I understand he's a smart guy. He's been a very good coordinator from his time in Philadelphia, has put together a really good team here in Indianapolis, but also he's an idiot. How How do you do that? How do you put Anthony Richardson back out there to run the ball? I see Slayer Sacker say he got him hurt on purpose. Maybe it's 4D chess, right? As Lucas says here, just to get Joe Flacco out there to win the game. But man, was that painful. I don't know what he was thinking. And I would honestly put it as a fireable offense. If Anthony Richardson were to get season-ending hurt again, it looks like he's going to be fine. He was out there on the sideline kind of running up and down, being a big part of this game. So I think Anthony Richardson is fine. He's expected to play next week. But what? That would be like if the Dolphins threw Tua Tagovailoa out there to run a QB sneak after he picked up his concussion again. Like, I don't get what he was thinking, and it's painful as an Anthony Richardson fantasy manager. Like, can he not just, I don't know, let him get to half before running the ball again? I don't know. Painful usage, but shout out to Joe Flacco for putting the team on his back and winning this game. Shout out for saving my Michael Pittman shares. Shout out Josh Downs for being a stud. But man, Shane Steichen, you have to look yourself in the mirror and really think about how you're utilizing your injured quarterback before you injure him again. Like, I would put this as a fireable offense if Anthony Richardson were to, like, if that was season ending again. Like, I would just move on from Shane Steichen. He clearly doesn't care about the health of his quarterback. But luckily it's okay, so we won't get there. I understand he's trying to win the game. You can win the game without running Anthony Richardson down the throat. Or you could just pull him. Just pull him, right? It's just, to me, it was a stupid decision to immediately run him again. At least let him warm back up and get the adrenaline pumping or something. But Jesus Christ, you can't just throw him back out there and run straight into 250-pound defenders immediately. You can't do that. It was a stupid play call. Stupid play call. Facepalm. And now it's time for me to start crying because Kyle Pitts put up a 0. Come on! Come on, Kyle Pitts. Come on, Falcons staff. Come on, refs. The refs keep robbing Kyle Pitts of good plays. I will admit that. But that also doesn't matter. Kyle Pitts has less targets than Bijan Robinson and only 8 receptions now through 4 games. Darnell Mooney, Ray McLeod, and Bijan Robinson all have 15 receptions, which is nearly double what Kyle Pitts has put together. Now, luckily, off of his 8 receptions, he still has over 100 yards. You know, like, he's had some of those athletic plays. He has the touchdown. But it is kind of painful to watch Ray McLeod get targeted. Ray McLeod get targeted. Ray McLeod get targeted. Darnell Mooney get targeted. Drake London get targeted. Bijan Robinson get targeted. Ray McLeod get targeted. Darnell Mooney get targeted. Ray McLeod get a target. Kyle Pitts gets a target. Oh, it's a pass interference. You know, like, it's just so painful. It is so painful. Kyle Pitts' targets per game has gone down every single year he's been in the league. And it's just painful. I'm hurt. You guys know this. I'm not even giving up on Kyle Pitts. Don't mistake that for this. I would still say bye Kyle Pitts. He's still only 23 years old. That's younger than Travis Kelce even was when he caught his first career touchdown. But the usage has to come at some point, right? Like, I was right in that Drake London isn't getting the proper alpha usage. He's getting good enough usage. But I really thought that would come at the cost of Kyle Pitts getting the alpha usage. Not Darnell Mooney. Not Ray McLeod. I did not expect this at all. I'm confused. I'm honestly lost for words when it comes from Kyle Pitts. Because I don't know how you only have 8 receptions through 4 games. I don't know. And I see a lot of comments here in the chat, right? Like, he is young. He's a tight end, again, only 23 years old. But, I mean, he broke out when he was 20. So, like, I don't know. Like, I'm just a little confused. I think it's the usage. But I also just think he's not good sometimes. Like, I think it's a little of everything. I think he's not getting open enough. When he is getting open, he's not being found, or he's being interfered with, or he's dropping the damn pass. Like, he doesn't really look that good. Doesn't really look that good. I'm going to be honest with you. And he's not getting the usage. It's concerning. I'm not giving up on him. I did, like I said, I was very high on him. I'm not going to lie. I thought he could be the tight end 1 this year. And honestly, luckily, he still can. The tight end position landscape this year is horrendous. Dallas Goedert's the tight end one right now because of one big game. So it really will only take one big game to get back on track. But when is it going to come? When is it going to come? Because last week against the Chiefs had been kind of getting eaten alive by tight ends, and Kyle Pitts was doing nothing, right? It's a pain. It really is a pain. Like, to not be outproducing Ray McCloud is an issue. Like, I'm sorry. I can write off being outproduced by Darnell Mooney and Drake London because, it is what it is. But for Ray McCloud and Bijan Robinson, even for that matter, to be doing so much better than you, it's a concern. And I wouldn't say I'm panicking. I'm definitely not getting rid of Kyle Pitts. And like I said, I'm still trying to acquire him. I know he's impossible to acquire. I know anyone that rosters him is holding on to him for dear life. But man, you've got to be concerned right now. I doubt that anything's going to happen this year unless an injury happens, right? Like Drake London getting hurt, that's probably really beneficial for Kyle Pitts, but we don't want that to happen. Christian Kirk really likes Darnell Mooney. It's clear as day. So that's not like he's not going to beat out Darnell Mooney now. And I see some people in the chat saying it's going to take a second team. I don't think Kyle Pitts is going to go anywhere else. I think he's going to stay in Atlanta. Really, he's not doing enough to earn a big contract. So I already know Terry Fontenot is going to pay him what he wants for the most part, and no other team really will. So I think this is the definition of a player who's going to stay on a team. Hopefully he turns it around. Again, he's only 23 years old. He still has the athleticism and everything, but it's not really coming together. And at this point, you would expect it to. Like, this was the year to me. Kirk Cousins, he loves his tight ends. The Rams' offensive system generally likes their tight ends. We've seen Tyler Higbee have a 100-target season. It's pain. It's pain. I mean, this is now 3 different coaching staffs and 4 different quarterbacks, right, that have just not really liked Kyle Pitts. 5 different quarterbacks, really, if you count Taylor Heineke. I don't know. Like I said, I'm mostly at a loss for words. I'm frustrated. I'm not giving up. I would still look to acquire him, but it's painful, and it's not. Well, this is my point, Aaron. Sorry. Atlanta won't re-sign him for the money he's going to want. No one is going to sign him for the money that he wants, and so therefore he'll probably end up signing in Atlanta because Atlanta will pay him slightly more than anyone else. He's definitely not getting a top-tier contract from anyone, which is, to me, just generally when that happens, team players should stay with their team. But yeah, I don't know. I don't even know. Because, like, he's getting open. If you watch these games, he's getting open. He is. He's just not getting targeted. And that seems to be part of the game plan, really. So it's going to take an injury for it to happen this year. And then in the future, I mean, Darnell Mooney's on a 3-year contract. Drake London, drafted after Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is coming up on the end of his rookie contract. This is year 4. And I don't even know. I should probably know. Did the Falcons even take his 5th-year option? They did. So 1 more year. They did take the 5th year. But yeah, it's time to feel a little bit concerned. So we are going a little bit on an L lap here with Kyle Pitts, feeling a little rough. So we'll keep it going with one more kind of L lap. And that is, where is he? Oh, my overlay isn't here right now. Hold on, guys. Bear with me here as I find it. One more little L lap here comes from one of my starts of the week. Back-to-back start of the week, actually, at the tight end position. Back-to-back weeks now. This guy has let me down. And I'm starting to feel just very, very concerned as it pertains to Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews right now is not playing good football. And to make matters worse, the Ravens are not looking his way. If you're panicking about Kyle Pitts, you should be panicking about Mark Andrews because at least in Atlanta's case, it's a good pass offense. But in the Ravens case, it's a very run-heavy offense right now, and Isaiah Likely, the backup tight end, is very much outperforming the Mandrews. Or should I say Boy Drews at this point? Am I right, fellas? 0 for 1 in this game. 0 points last week as well. Dropping passes, that target that he had was going to be a first down. If he caught that, honestly, we might be talking about him differently. But he dropped it, and it was a bad drop. Mark Andrews, I am actually panicking on. This is a full-blown panic. I'm not going to lie. Because he is getting up there in age, and I don't mean like this is going to come across poorly, and I don't mean it to, but I also know he has like the diabetes issue, and I don't know how that affects longevity in the league. I don't know. I would have to do research on that, but I feel like that could play into it as well. I feel like that would affect you being able to perform at a high athletic level as you get older. I don't really know. I don't mean that in a bad way, but that's just something else too. Age has, a little bit of a disease, and not performing well, has a backup tight end doing better than him. It is full-blown panic mode. Mark Mandrews doesn't drop that pass that he dropped in this game. Mandrews takes that pass for like 30, 40 yards at least, runs people over. But instead, he drops the pass, doesn't look like himself, and continuously gets outperformed by his backup. It is not good. It is panic time for Mark Andrews. I don't know what I would sell him for. I think you're stuck holding the bag, because Isaiah Likely's ahead of him in value, and I would honestly still rather have Mark Andrews than Isaiah Likely, as much as I hate to say that. But what do you do? What do you give up for him? I'm not buying Mark Andrews, really. What do you give? Evan Ingram, maybe? But even then, I feel like Evan Ingram is going to turn things around when he returns, so I don't know. I'm going full-blown panic mode for Mark Andrews. A lot of people asking if they should drop him. God, I don't know. I don't know if you can drop him. You can't start him. You definitely can't start him. But drop him is another story. I think you've got to give him another couple weeks before you outright drop him, because you could still say, he did miss training camp due to a car accident, right? Like, he got injured. So it is still possible he's working back from it. I don't think it is at this case. We're 4 weeks through the season now, right? Like, I think at this point, he probably should have worked through everything, but still getting up to game speed and everything is part of the argument here. But I would say full-blown panic time for Mark Andrews. It's full-blown panic time. We're not dropping him. Definitely can't drop him. Not yet, at least. But you can't start him. And that's even worse, because now we're talking about a roster clogger at already a position that you hate having to roster. It sucks. It sucks. But you can't get rid of him. It is the Mandrews, even if he's Boy Drews right now. It's concerning. And I would say, yes, it is panic time, but you've just got to hold on until things kind of figure it out. But moving on, we're going to start victory lapping now. I think the rest of the show, it's victory lap time. So let's go. We're going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. We began the victory lap last week, right? We did a half victory lap for this player. It's time for the full-blown victory lap. I don't even care that Justin Fields loses this game. He lost this game, but he also almost won it in the same time. And this, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we've always been hoping to see from Justin Fields, minus a few stupid plays. I'm not going to lie. There were some dumb plays back there. But 22 of 34, not bad. 312 passing yards, pretty good. 1 passing touchdown and no interceptions, pretty good. 10 carries for 55 yards and 2 rush touchdowns, pretty good. So Justin Fields, he's doing everything right. He's doing everything right. And this was always the case. I quote tweeted this bitch on Twitter this morning. We tweeted it out in April. When this move happened, I immediately went onto this show and said, Justin Fields is the Steelers' franchise quarterback. Not that he's going to be the starter this year and then go to another team. No. I called him their franchise quarterback. I never gave a single thought to Russell Wilson playing really a snap, really. I for the most part, my thinking was that Justin Fields would take over mid-season and then kind of go from there and then be the franchise quarterback. But I knew that Russell Wilson was washed, and you knew Russell Wilson was washed too. But for some reason, everyone and their mother thought Russell Wilson wasn't washed, and Justin Fields was the one that was washed. Here's the deal. This was always a young quarterback with first-round draft capital that had insane athleticism with one of the highest ceilings in the NFL that had no development, had absolutely no development. And he took strides last year in Chicago, had his best season as a passer, most pass yards, highest completion percentage, had a 300-yard passing game with no rushing touchdowns. I mean, the guy put it together last year, his first year with a weapon. Now he's kind of doing the same here in Pittsburgh, but being a game manager, which is just awesome. I saw a really good Reddit post. He's not winning games. He's not losing them. And in this game, he lost it. I will not lie. That fumble of his and almost 2 fumbles of his did lose the game. The Colts didn't get any points off that fumble, but, you know, if you don't do that, you're able to go down the drive and score. But either way, this was such a good move for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Just absolutely incredible. Because you see George Pickens go 7 of 11 for 113 yards. You see Pat Freiermuth 5 of 7 for 57 yards and a touchdown. You see Najee Harris 3 receptions off 6 targets for 54 yards. That is what the Steelers offense wants to be. And it's just awesome. It is just awesome to see, because I never gave up on Justin Fields. We had an episode this offseason on football cards, right? We went through, I looked at eBay for every football card value. I spent a week looking at this, putting it together, coming up with this just because I was bored. And I thought it'd be interesting to compare fantasy football values to football card values. And I said, buy Justin Fields rookie cards while you can. I have a box behind me with 14 Justin Fields rookie cards because they were like $2 each. Everyone gave up on this guy, but not this guy right here. And I'm just so excited to see him playing the way he is. Russell Wilson has no hope unless Justin Fields gets hurt. And again, we do not want that to happen. And even when Russell Wilson comes in, he's not going to look that good. I don't think that this would have worked well. I'm going to be honest with you. If the Bears kept Fields, drafted Marvin Harrison Jr., got, I don't know, JC Latham or something, like traded up, I don't think that fixes it. I think that the Bears got their guy, and I think the Steelers got their guy. It sucks it had to go that way. But again, Shane Waldron, Matt Eberflus especially, do not know how to develop a quarterback. Okay? Justin Fields would have struggled even with DJ Moore, Roma Tunes, and Keenan Allen. Okay? Like Marvin Harrison Jr. That was not a good offense for him. And that is the coach's fault. That's why I don't believe in Matt Eberflus. That's why I hated what the Bears did. I would have rather just brought in a different coaching staff. But this works now. It works now for both sides. So I'm just excited. Justin Fields, congratulations. QB of the future. Gonna get a contract with this team. Gonna stay with them for the next few seasons. Congratulations to Pittsburgh Steelers fans. You've got a very fun quarterback to watch. Except for those plays where he runs 30 yards backwards and fumbles. But still, he will also run 10 yards forward or make a really nice pass to George Pickens. So, you take the bad with the good. It's just fun to watch. 3-1, nothing to scoff at. Tough game for this one for sure. Joe Flacco shredding that defense is just what Joe Flacco does. But man, Justin Fields, fun to watch. Almost pulled it off too. Literally almost pulled off the comeback. Would you pick up Fields and redraft and bench Mahomes? I mean, honestly, at this point, that's not a crazy question because, I mean, Patrick Mahomes has lost some weapons now. The Chiefs' offense looks pretty bad. I would still take it matchup by matchup. I mean, like this one, we talked about it, right? Some days, wake and take, start of the week, Justin Fields, right? Even on the TikTok, right? Like my number one start of the week across all positions was Justin Fields against this Colts defense. So this was always going to be a really good matchup for him. So we'll see, right? But yeah, it's awesome. Just awesome. I will say some stuff that made people off of Justin Fields is still there, but he's putting everything together and clearly developing, and clearly this coaching staff and offense is built around him as opposed to just kind of built for him. Does that make any sense? I don't know if that makes any sense, but I feel like in Chicago, he was asked to do it all, whereas in Pittsburgh, he's asked to do what they need him to do. And to me, that is just such a difference in terms of developing a quarterback and expectations and what will translate on the football field, that it really is making the world of a difference. I'm just really happy for Justin Fields because, I mean, this was a player that everyone was hating on. Everyone was hating on him. And it was just undeserved. It really was. Like, he got a really unfair shake to start his career, but still looked incredible. Had some, like, he was like the most tantalizing player in fantasy 2 years ago. So I'm just glad to see he's back. Let's go. Giving myself a pat on the back, too, because this was one of the biggest advantages this offseason was to just get him on your team, no matter what the cost. I got him for like a 3rd-round pick in the league. I mean, like, it's serious. Seriously. Would you drop Christian Watson for JSN or Wicks? I would do both of those players, by the way. But anyway, moving on to another fun little victory lap. We'll keep this one short. Jordan Whittington. Just keep an eye on this, guys. We talked about it. When Cooper Kupp got hurt, when Puka Nacua got hurt, everyone's top waiver wire ad, Tyler Johnson, Demarcus Robinson, Tutu Atwell. And I was like, what are we doing? What are we doing? We do not play fantasy football for random wide receiver fill-ins that are not even good for your flex spot early in the season. If you're picking up a wide receiver, you want them to improve over the year and have the ceiling, okay? And we saw Jordan Whittington, a rookie, absolutely dominate in preseason, earn himself the roster spot, and really, really catch Sean McVay's eye in the type of way that they can use him. This is a wide receiver that's unique, okay? He brings something different to this team. Really good athleticism. And we're starting to see it show. His usage is increasing week after week after week. 8 targets in this game, brings in 6 of them for 68 yards. And you would be crazy to think that when Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua comes back, that he's sent away. It would be Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, Jordan Whittington, number 3. And I'm willing to put my head out there on that. I'm willing to, because that's how football works. You know, the person with upside, the athleticism, the tantalizing rookie, the one that impressed in preseason, that's working hard, that's catching the coach's eyes, that has the athleticism, that hasn't been a career NFL journeyman, that didn't get benched last season. That's the one you want. And he was the one that nobody was adding except for on this show where we said, get Jordan Whittington. I don't want Tyler Johnson. I said that. Don't get Tyler Johnson. Don't care about Tutu Atwell. If you want to get Demarcus Robinson, sure, he will score you some points, but you're never going to feel great about it. Jordan Whittington, on the other hand, he's not a roster clogger. That's what you have to think about when you're doing your waiver wire runs. Does this player have the potential to clog my roster? And players like Jordan Whittington don't, because if they don't pan out, if they don't get the usage, you're dropping them. But for some players, like a Demarcus Robinson, for example, you're just holding on to that guy because, oh, he's a wide receiver 1 on the Rams. He gets the most usage, but it's boring-ass usage with no ceiling. And you have to think about that. Jordan Whittington, keep an eye on this. This is his type of usage, and I guarantee he'll still be on the field when Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua come back. We saw it week 1. He scored a touchdown in week 1, but it was called back because of a holding penalty. They gave him the ball week 1, okay? Over Tyler Johnson and everyone. So get this guy on your roster if he's still out there. Get him on your roster if he's still out there, and drop Tyler Johnson and Tutu Atwell. They do not need to be rostered because you're never going to start them. Off my high horse now. Moving on to an L plus W lap. First off, DeAndre Swift. I drafted you in almost every redraft league I'm a part of. I traded for you in a ton of dynasty leagues. And I finally benched you this week. And you know what your ass did to me? 16 carries for 93 yards and a touchdown, 7 of 7 in the passing game, led the team in both receiving yards and targets. He looks like he's here. He looks like he's getting the usage I expected DeAndre Swift to get with that 3-year, $8 million a year contract based on what we saw from him in Philadelphia. He had over 1,000 rush yards last year in Philadelphia. He looked good. He just didn't score touchdowns. And this year, he has looked terrible. So I finally gave up on him, especially last week. Roshan Johnson and Khalil Herbert were getting mixed in. It was concerning. It seemed that they were giving up on him. But they gave him one more chance this week, and he took hold of that thing. And it was just awesome. You cannot lie to me. You cannot look me in the face and tell me you do not like seeing DeAndre Swift play well, because it's awesome. He's so electric. He's so explosive when he's playing well. And I saw some chats. Should you sell DeAndre Swift? No. Especially in Dynasty? No. You hold on to this player. Because he's awesome. They gave him a 3-year contract very similar to Tony Pollard, because they believed in him and wanted to kind of build this offense around him. It's not going to stop here. He's going to get this type of usage all season. And he was getting this type of usage minus the 7 targets pretty much all year too, except for last week. So I hate myself for benching him. Absolutely hate myself for benching him. But I'm very excited that I held on to my shares, didn't sell any of them, and now I'm able to kind of start him with hopefully some more confidence. You guys have seen it. Our Wake and Take Best Ball leagues, both of them. The 2 Wake and Take Best Ball leagues we started, both of them I got DeAndre Swift. Both of them, my team has been sucking because of DeAndre Swift. But now the team looks kind of good. Now we're kind of getting back on track. Will he still have some floor games? Yes. But I really do think we saw last week, okay? We saw last week Caleb Williams get 300 passing yards. We saw Roma Dudze come to life. This week, we see the run game come to life, specifically DeAndre Swift. I think the Bears really are putting the pieces together and finding their identity, getting comfortable. And a big part of that is going to be the run game. And a big part of the run game is going to be DeAndre Swift. So if you could still acquire him for a decent price, I would honestly do so. Again, it's a 3-year contract. So in Dynasty, you have him attached to Caleb Williams for the next couple seasons. And he's still only 25 years old with a ton of athleticism, with an all-purpose skill set. So Swift season, I think it's here. I do. I think the Bears are here, and I think DeAndre Swift is here. Fun to watch. Pretty exciting stuff. Mad at myself for benching him, but I'm definitely glad that I have a ton of DeAndre Swift shares for the rest of the season. And next, I hate doing this, but you win. Sam Darnold, you win. I keep fading you. I keep fading Sam Darnold. I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. I am sitting here every single week. Like at some point, Sam Darnold has to turn back into a pumpkin. And maybe he's waiting for October. Maybe it's next week, right? Like maybe he's waiting for spooky season. But so far, so good. Not like so far, so good, like we're doing well, but like so far, so good. He looks awesome. He has 932 passing yards, 11 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions through the first 4 weeks. 68% completion percentage. Playing lights out. Literally playing lights out. And a big part of that is going to be Kevin O'Connell, right? We've seen it time and time again, right? Where Kevin O'Connell has just put together an offense with whatever quarterback is at the helm. And so maybe we should have expected this. And we kind of did. I think a lot of people thought, like myself included, I thought Sam Darnold would look good for a few games and then turn back into himself. But when is he going to turn back into himself? And how much longer can I keep saying Sam Darnold's going to turn back into a pumpkin for him to prove me wrong? I'm tired of it. At this point, I'm just going to let it happen. I'm not fading Sam Darnold anymore. I'm done with it. He's going to continue to ball. And we'll fade Sam Darnold when he's not on the Vikings. But for now, him and Kevin O'Connell and Justin Jefferson, just a great match. It's working well. And I mean, the throws that he's making are really good NFL throws, like genuinely. Like I am very much impressed by what Sam Darnold is putting together. And my eyes are finally open. I've been like this. I pretend I do not see it, but I do see it now. I see it now. I'm coming around. You win. Sam Darnold, you win. Kevin O'Connell, you win. I'm sorry. Respect on your name is back. Moving on to another team in this game. It's the Packers, right? Just the Packers. And I got to say, Jordan Love is a warrior for playing through this game. 4 touchdowns, by the way. 4 touchdowns on your return from injury. Almost pull off the comeback over the undefeated Minnesota Vikings against a tough defense. But the story of this game is Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed's a league winner. I've kind of classified him in that wide receiver 24 to 36 range, wide receiver 3. This dude's a wide receiver 1. He deserves to be up in the Drake London range, if I'm going to be honest with you at this point, especially with Christian Watson getting hurt again. Jaden Reed is just a stud in this game. 139 receiving yards and a touchdown off of only 7 receptions. You could get him so late in drafts. Not so late. You could get him later than you should have in drafts this year. You're able to acquire him in Dynasty easier than you should. But he's a league winner. If you have Jaden Reed, he's an every week starter. He's getting a ton of usage, and he's producing super, super well with it, like we saw last year. He's just incredible. He really is just incredible. Congratulations to everyone that has him. Jordan Love is a warrior, but Jaden Reed is a league winner. Still try to get him. Honestly, if you have like a Rashi Rice, I would trade Rashi Rice for Jaden Reed right now. Hands up in the sky, I would do that right now. I would just straight up do that. And a trade I wouldn't do is anything trading away Breece Hall. Do not panic. Do not panic on Breece Hall. Breece Hall in this game looked awful, but you're allowed to have bad games, okay? You're allowed to have bad games at some point in your career, especially when you're a player like Breece Hall. And it just seemed, right? It just seemed that things were just not working for the Jets. It just was not their day. It just was not their day. And that's fine. I know that that's not great analysis to just say the Jets had a bad day. But there's no other way to explain 10 carries for 4 yards for Breece Hall. There's no other way to explain 3 drops from Breece Hall. 12 touches for 18 yards from Breece Hall is inexplainable. And so I'm taking the cop-out route and just saying it was a bad day. Do not panic on Breece Hall. He's going to be fine. If any manager is panicking, get him. If you could trade Devon Achane for Breece Hall, do it. As Alan Davis says down here in the chat, Denver does have a legit defense. They are fixing things on that team. Just a bad day for Breece Hall and this Jets. I'm not panicking. It's Breece MF Hall. Get him if you can. Definitely don't panic. He's going to be fine. I guarantee next week. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Quote graphic, producer Dustin. Breece Hall, RB1 next week. 30 points. Saying it now. Breece Hall scores 30 points and is the RB1 next week. Please tell me the Jets aren't on bye next week. Please tell me the Jets aren't on bye next week. I probably should have seen that first. Who's got the bye weeks in week 5? The Jets are not on bye next week. We're good. Breece Hall, RB1 next week, scores over 30 points. Do not panic. Breece Hall is fine. But a running back who's not fine is Rashad White. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Yikes, 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 yikes. Rashad White. This was the game. We went on here on this show, talked about kind of benching Bucky Irving. He picked up the hamstring injury in practice this week. You know, they're probably going to be playing from behind against the Philadelphia Eagles. So Rashad White should kind of get a bunch of pass catching work and they'll probably just lean on him. No. This truly is a split. You would have hoped. The big hope going into this game was that Rashad White would be getting better from his groin and Bucky Irving would be getting worse from his hamstring injury. But instead, they both look exactly the same. Bucky Irving, 10 carries for 49 yards. Rashad White, 10 carries for 49 yards. The only difference? Bucky Irving scored a touchdown. Now, Rashad White did add 2 receptions for 35 yards, so that, of course, helps him out. He is still better in PPR leagues. And I still would be looking to acquire Rashad White in Dynasty. But the hope that he owns this backfield is long, long gone. I, was of the mindset that Bucky Irving was getting this usage because of Rashad White's groin injury. Right? Nah. No. Absolutely not. This is a split backfield. And Rashad White is going to get more pass catching work, but Bucky Irving had 2 targets to Rashad White's 3. It's a legit 55-45, 50-50 split. And that's very concerning. That means Rashad White has lost a lot of dynasty value. And Bucky Irving has gained a lot. I will say this. Rashad White was an inch away from a touchdown. And I'll say this as well. Rashad White is still a buy. And I still think Bucky Irving's a sell. I mean, I still do kind of believe that Rashad White is the starting running back here. And he's going to start to look better as the season goes along. And he's going to start catching more passes. But it's time to start sounding the alarms. It's time to get concerned. Rashad White does not own this backfield at all anymore. At all. So it's concerning. Yikes. Now, moving on. I'm going to go ahead and we've got a little bit of a take here. But we've also got a little bit of just kind of understanding. And to The Panthers are roaring. They look awesome. However, I do think that Andy Dalton is going to hit a wall soon. I think we're going to have Andy Walton very soon, and then maybe we'll see Bryce Young. But in this game, Andy Dalton showed some signs of regression last week, over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. This week, 25 of 40, 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, only averaging 5.5 yards per attempt. Silver lining being both Xavier Legette and Deontay Johnson score touchdowns. Both of those players have over 6 receptions. Both of those players have over 60 yards. And Chuba Hubbard also adds 100 yards on the ground and a rushing touchdown on top of 4 receptions. This offense looks really good for fantasy. It is awesome. But I'm going to go ahead and say I do believe that Andy Dalton will hit a wall sooner rather than later. I don't think this is going to be another Joe Flacco story where he comes in and really turns around his career and is able to make this Panthers team a playoff contender. I just don't think that's the case. I really don't. I do think we'll see Andy Dalton kind of turn back into Andy Dalton like he was in New Orleans. He looks good right now. And yeah, that might be the Dave Canales magic, but to see him, 100 less pass yards, 1 less touchdown, and 1 more interception, I don't think he's going full Flacco. I think Joe Flacco is the Flacco. I think that Andy Dalton will start to crumble as the weeks go on, but I do still think the assets will be fine. But I will say I don't think that the Andy Dalton excitement is going to last forever. I think that I'm there, but for now, they are roaring and they look good. So shout out Andy Dalton and this Panthers team, Chuba Hubbard and Xavier Legette. Guys, that was one of our top waiver wire ads last week. So I hope you listened and got Xavier Legette. 10 targets in this game, 6 receptions, 66 yards and a touchdown. Looked great. And speaking of looking great, I'm going to go ahead and say it. The Cincinnati Bengals are a playoff team. I know that this was, I think their first win. But man, is it exciting to see how they win this game. Not only on defense, but Joe Burrow, 2 touchdowns and 1 interception, just like Andy Dalton. But finds Jamar Chase for an awesome play. T. Higgins gets 6 receptions. Eric All gets mixed in. Both Chase Brown and Zach Moss catch some passes. Andre Yosebas gets his catch. Chase Brown and Zach Moss both have 15 carries. Everyone kind of came to life in this game, and it was just exciting to see. We knew it was going to take a little bit of time. Jamar Chase had sat out. Joe Burrow picked up I think it was like another calf injury over the offseason. But they are clicking now. And they, to me, are just one of those teams that gets right at the hot time. That's what we saw in their last Super Bowl run, right? They just get hot at the right time, and they play scrappy, good playoff football. This is a very dangerous football team on a week-to-week basis. And I think if they make the playoffs, they will make some noise. So I'm just going to go ahead and say it. The Cincinnati Bengals are playoff bound, and they're going to be a very, very, very dangerous playoff team. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up in the AFC Championship or something like that. I know it was a slow start to the season, but I think everything is starting to come together for this team, and I would not, absolutely not, bet against Joey B and Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase said this week, do you know what Jamar Chase said this week? He said, all the offseason negotiations, I'm over it. Now I'm just focused on having fun. And when you hear that, you know it's time to put the league on notice. Jamar Chase is ready to ball out, guys. And that just means good things for the rest of the Bengals. They're a playoff team, and they're going to make noise rest of the season. It's awesome to watch. And by the way, speaking of awesome to watch, Nico Collins might be too good. It is insane what he is doing right now. I cannot believe what Nico Collins is doing right now. 12 receptions off 15 targets for 151 yards and a touchdown. And he keeps doing that. He just keeps doing that. It is insane what Nico Collins is putting together on the field right now alongside CJ Stroud while competing with Stephon Diggs for targets. This is his 3rd game this season with over 100 yards. His 3rd game this season with at least 10 targets. I mean, geez, guys. He looks incredible. Wide receiver 1 for sure. Top 10 dynasty wide receiver. Congratulations to everyone who kind of held on to him through his first couple years and had the breakout last year. Just awesome. Just absolutely awesome. And a really good learning lesson, too. Don't give up on your players that don't break out in year 1 and 2. Hold on for year 3. We're watching Jamison Williams do it right now. Nico Collins, I would argue, is almost too good. I would honestly. This is insane what he's putting together. Let's say this. In the chat, let me know. A.J. Brown or Nico Collins? I think that's a legit question now. Nico Collins or Puka Nacua? I think that's a very legit question now. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. CJ Stroud's wide receiver 1 with that athletic profile? Sign me up. My Lord. Looking amazing. Looking amazing. God, too good. Almost too good. And moving on, the Jaguars. We're getting clarity. We're getting clarity. I'm on record already, said I'm not giving up on this Jaguars team. I just can't do it. I think they'll figure it out. And we're getting some clarity. We are getting some clarity, guys. We saw in this game a loss. We saw Trevor Lawrence look kind of bad again. But. Brian Thomas Jr., 9 targets, 6 receptions, 86 yards, and a touchdown. Christian Kirk, 12 targets, 7 receptions, 61 yards, and a touchdown. That is what the Jaguars offense should look like, except we should also see Evan Ingram get worked into this as well at some point. So I think we can go ahead, and I know a lot of you already did it. Rest in peace, Gabe Davis. Put that headstone. He's done. Don't worry about Gabe Davis. I would almost say he's droppable. I think at this point, I would say Gabe Davis is droppable. Gabe Davis now, through the 4 weeks, only has 21 targets, which isn't bad, but has only brought in 9 of them for 121 yards, right? Like that's basically Kyle Pitts usage, but worse. Worse efficiency. And you're never going to know when to start him. This is kind of the same thing as earlier. We're getting clarity in this situation. We were hoping that Gabe Davis would have some spike weeks, but we haven't really seen it. And I'm sure we still might see it, but it's just not worth it. Brian Thomas Jr. is the alpha here. Christian Kirk is the beta. And Evan Ingram's going to take a lot of targets away too when he returns. There's just no reason to roster Gabe Davis. I would look to trade him for a third. I would drop him in redraft for someone fun, someone exciting, and just get rid of Gabe Davis. It's over. But at least we're getting some clarity. Brian Thomas Jr., really a true alpha. He's a stud and a half. And Christian Kirk, I think he's trending in the right direction. He was unhealthy to start the year. It seems he's getting healthier now, getting the usage that he used to get. Christian Kirk, looking good. Probably an every week starter going forward as well if he's going to continue to get these 12 targets like he had been in the past. But Brian Thomas Jr., he's the alpha. Christian Kirk's the beta, but still getting a ton of usage. And look for Evan Ingram to make some noise too when he returns. We're getting some clarity in Jacksonville. They don't look great, but we're getting clarity, and that's all we can ask for. And we're getting more, absolutely more than we can ask for with Jaden Daniels. He is the rookie of the year. I think we can go ahead and lock him in. We're going to have the same conversations around Jaden Daniels that we did with CJ Stroud last year, and that is, can he be the MVP? The answer is no. I don't think the NFL is ever going to give an MVP to a rookie. I think they would have last year. They would have just given it to CJ Stroud last year. In fact, CJ Stroud probably would have had it if he didn't get injured. So maybe Jaden Daniels can do it. He's off to an incredible start. The Commanders are in first place in the NFC East. He has the highest completion percentage of a quarterback through their first 4 games in NFL history. On the list, he has an 82% completion percentage through his first 4 games. The next 3 quarterbacks, Tom Brady, Geno Smith, Kyler Murray. Locked in rookie of the year. I think we could say it, right? Like Caleb Williams, he's struggling. Malik Neighbors, he's doing really, really well, but they're not going to give it to a wide receiver. And I thought that Marvin Harrison Jr. could kind of do something with it, but he's not. Again, they're not going to give it to a wide receiver with a quarterback playing this well. So Jaden Daniels, over 1,000 yards already, 897 passing yards, 218 rushing yards, just really looking incredible. A great understanding of NFL defenses already, like seriously, like shredding defenses, 26 of 30 in this game. Finding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different wide receivers. Just awesome. Just awesome stuff from Jaden Daniels, the rookie of the year, already locked in. Literally already locked in. Jaden Daniels, rookie of the year. Congratulations. He's my Scott Fishbowl quarterback. Unfortunately, doesn't mean anything because the rest of my team is hurt. Because I also drafted Kenneth Walker, Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, and Tank Dell, and Taysom Hill. But okay, we're fine. We're chilling. Jaden Daniels hopefully can keep carrying me. And hopefully my guys return soon. But either way, congratulations to everyone that got Jaden Daniels in redraft. He is the cheat code this year. You could have got him in like the 10th, 11th round. Doing incredible stuff. Jaden Daniels, rookie of the year. What a stud. And speaking of studs, Zamir White, 17 carries for 50 yards. Dude, what the hell is going on? How do you earn the nickname Zeus and you're this bad? I'm sorry. Zeus or Goose is what I've got to say. I tried to get creative. I don't know. But still, 17 carries, getting the bell cow usage that we were hoping he would get for 50 yards. Alexander Mattison, 60 yards on 5 carries. DJ Turner and Trey Tucker scored rushing touchdowns. Zamir White, man. Zamir White. I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say. I hope he turns it around. I hope he does. I have a few shares of Zamir White in Dynasty, and he's basically valueless at this time. You should not be ceding touches, and he's not even really ceding touches to Alexander Mattison. But he's looking terrible. How do you have 17 carries for 50 yards? Zeus is deuce. You're right. It is just awful. Awful. But you know what is not awful, guys? You know what is absolutely not awful? One thing is not awful. One thing is so very exciting. And man, that is the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens offense is a dream. It's just a dream. It is just a dream come true. If you were to build a Madden team right now, it would be the Baltimore Ravens. You would get a Lamar Jackson mobile quarterback. You would try to get Derrick Henry. And if you know anything about building a team on Madden, you know wide receivers don't matter. You know that. And so this is the perfect Madden team. And man, do they look awesome. Kyle Hamilton is a stud on defense. Lamar Jackson is a stud on offense in all facets. But Derrick Henry is the king still. It's just awesome. Listen to these stats. I mean, Lamar Jackson, not too good, but 200 yards and 2 touchdowns, all purpose. Actually, 3 touchdowns. Rushing touchdown, 2 passing touchdowns, no turnovers. Derrick Henry, 199 rush yards and a touchdown, on top of a receiving touchdown, over 200 all-purpose yards for him. And even Justice Hill, a flex play, by the way, on the Wake and Take show. 4 carries for 18 yards, nothing to scoff at, but 6 receptions for 78 yards and a touchdown. Awesome. Awesome stuff from the Baltimore Ravens, guys. Love it. Absolutely love it. It is a Madden dream. So much fun to watch. And I got to say, again, we talked about it on Friday's episode. Would you rather have Wan'Dale Robinson or Zay Flowers? I'm just going to continue. I pounded the table for that last year. I was like, Wan'Dale Robinson is just Zay Flowers on the Giants. Zay Flowers is just Wan'Dale Robinson on the Ravens. And you have to ask yourself, what does that really mean? Sell Zay Flowers is what I'll say. No, don't drop Mark Andrews. Oh, I'm going to end the show because we just got really bad news. But Ravens, they're awesome. Those are all my takeaways. I hope that was a more fun episode than usual instead of going game by game. Actual takeaways and reactions here. Fun stuff from this week. I really think everything is starting to come together for this season. Absolutely love the NFL right now. Incredible stuff going on. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. And apparently, rest in peace to Kembe Mutombo. Awful news. Awful news, Ryan. But I guess I'm glad you shared it. And guys, rest in peace, seriously. I'll do the finger wag for him as well. But everyone, I think we kind of answered questions as we were going through. So I think we're good in the questions front. So everyone, thank you so much for tuning in as we got back on track, giving actual takes on the show instead of just talking about what happened. Everyone, had a magnificent Monday, a terrific rest of your week. I hope your Monday Night Miracles come true in tonight's fun games. I hope you all tune in tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern here on the Player Profiler YouTube for some waiver wire rundown stuff. Everyone, like this video and subscribe and have a good one. Peace.
From the Podfather to you, I deeply appreciate you tuning in. And many ask, what can I do? What can I do to help support the hosts, the research they do, the production costs? Go to PlayerProfiler.com, Dynasty Deluxe, World Famous Draft Kit, Rankings, DFS Dominator, and of course, Data Analysis. Subscribe to any one of those, and you support all of us and take Player Profiler to the moon.